Hi everybody. Want to get this course started with addressing some of the historical elements that frame what we're discussing in this course. And after talking with Dr. Wilson and Dr. Clark, uh, came to find out that y'all really haven't gotten much history specific to post-secondary education in the United States. So just want to have a couple of videos here to provide a little bit of background. And as you see on the screen, really framing this around the historical underpinnings of student affairs. And when I talk about student affairs, I'm really referencing the breadth of administrative services through which we address out-of-class learning and out-of-class experiences that I'll reference throughout this course as the co-curriculum. And specifically in this video, I want to provide a brief overview of these historical underpinnings of student affairs. As you'll see, it can be difficult to talk about the history of student affairs without also discussing broader moments in the history of higher education in the United States. It seems as though any conversation about the history of higher education in America involves Harvard. Founded in 1636, the Massachusetts colonists, with the support of the British Crown, saw a need to provide training for clergy in the colonies, obviously specifically the colony of Massachusetts. Harvard College, sponsored by the Methodist Church, was not the only game in town for long, as several other church groups spawned colleges to train clergy in their own traditions. The private colonial colleges held their own for better than 100 years before leaders and men of influence began having discussions about needs for a public option for higher education that would aid in the training of leaders for the young democracy. 3 states are credited with materializing colleges out of these yearnings before the dawn of the 19th century, and those institutions are the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, which is depicted by the water fountain in the upper left-hand corner, the University of Tennessee at Knoxville, which is the torchbearer statue in the upper right-hand corner, and the University of Georgia, which is depicted with its iconic gates. Well, then why is there a 4th picture? Because I said there were 3 states. While the University of South Carolina wasn't chartered until 1801, leaders in the state made observation that for every institution that opened in the 1700s, it seemed as though one more were closing. From this observation, state leaders developed concrete financial plans to keep their public college open. As it happened, South Carolina College did close once, but only because all of the students and faculty volunteered to fight in the American Civil War. And as you can see, I am a little bit biased towards the University of South Carolina because, as you all know, I am an alum of that institution. Instruction up to this point looked very different from what we think of in terms of collegiate classrooms today. At most, faculty held master's degrees and were more proctors than teachers, monitoring students' progress through recitation. By 1828, some institutions were beginning to explore different areas of study beyond the classic curriculum of Latin, Greek, and mathematics. Those different fields of study included what were considered more practical areas, such as engineering. The faculty of Yale took issue with these newfangled approaches and produced the Yale Report of 1828, which was a referendum in support of the classical curriculum, citing that the purpose of a college education is the furnishing of the mind. Their plea to maintain the status quo fell on a sea of deaf ears. With diversification in collegiate curricula, there was an increasing need to address the training of faculty. Through the second quarter of the 19th century, more and more faculty were leaving the United States for Germany for advanced study in academic disciplines. What they brought back to America was a new credential, the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, a training that emphasized discovery, aka research. As more and more faculty in America were being trained in this tradition of inquiry, the faculty role began to evolve. No longer were faculty on campus to monitor students' lives, But to contribute to the development of the knowledge base in his or her, yes, there were some female faculty members of that time, his or her academic discipline. For this reason, the 1850s mark a significant shift in American higher education. So we have to wonder, what is the place for administration? And I hope that this video has given you a brief snapshot of some key historical elements in American higher education. In the next video, I'll get into some more specifics about the development of student affairs. And so as you think about that, or then you think about the next video when we get started, think about the idea that faculty were experiencing competing interests, that we're seeing increases in the number of women on campus, and that we're seeing tremendous growth in American higher education.